speaker is an author, a speaker, a radio show host, a lender, investor, and consulting firm CEO, firm founder and CEO. Apparently, I swear I do know how to read. Okay, so he's the founder and CEO of Certainty Management, a profit consulting firm headquartered in Henderson, Nevada. Patrick Laing is an author, speaker, and the headliner host of the Voice America business radio show, Finding Certainty. He and his team provide clients in the U.S. and abroad with cost reduction help, affordable benefits, wholesale travel savings, tax credit recovery, efficiency coaching, lending, joint venture funding, and more. A graduate of BYU Provo and a U.S. Army veteran, Patrick worked in counterterrorism and held a top secret security clearance for several years. Happily married to Tasha Laing, they are dad and moms of 5 great kids, ages 16 to 24. God bless you, sir. Patrick's proudest achievement, besides that of being a husband and father, is the zero-cost funding his company provides nonprofits, and his latest venture, the Certainty Fellowship, a mentoring project designed to help college students graduate empowered, prepared, and 100% debt-free. Patrick is also the founder of Certainty Global, an investment firm committed to helping open Africa to opportunity and development. Everyone, please give a rousing round of applause to the one and only Mr. Patrick Laing.
Thanks, Deneen. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can. How are you today, sir?
Excellent, but improving, as they say. I have a good friend who's in his 80s who always says that. I figure if he can be improving at 80, then we can be improving at our ages, right?
I love that. That's awesome.
So thanks for having me. I really appreciate the invitation, and I love Michael and Deneen and Alicia and Debbie and the whole group there at VIP Ignite. We've gotten to be good friends, and what you guys are doing is just really admirable. There's a reason you're getting so much recognition and such a great following. So really honored to be a part of it. So thanks for the introduction. We're doing a lot of different things, and it's growing every day. And that's how a business should be. That's how your career should be, right? It should continue to get bigger and better and continue to expand. And that's the goal. And so today, so I was talking to Deneen about what I might speak on. I want to talk about how your career in Hollywood, whatever that is, whether you're a model or an actor or a musician or whatever, really how you need to approach it like a business and as a profession, not just as a pastime. Okay. And that's hard to do when you're doing it part-time. Maybe you're working full-time and trying to do this in and around that. But there is a lot that you can do to treat it like a profession and make sure you're taking advantage of this opportunity and not letting it slip through your fingers. You know, I know this is a dream for all of you to be involved in entertainment and media. And if I can help in some small way, I'd be honored. So as we talk about the benefits of making it in the industry, right? Whatever that means for you, and it's different for different people. It might be the fame and the recognition that you want, the wealth and the opportunity, you know, all the free stuff you get. I remember I'm reminded of when I grew up in Utah, so I went to the Sundance Film Festival several times, and one year I volunteered to be a driver for Sundance Film Festival and spent about a week driving celebrities around, and most of the time we were driving them around to these gifting houses, you know, the Levi Strauss house and the Oakley sunglasses house and so forth and so on. And they got all this free merch, right? They just, I'm turning my phone off. They were treated like VIPs, and I think that's the big a big draw for a lot of us, right? To be a celebrity, to be treated like that and with that respect, and to get the free merch and the opportunities and so forth and so on. Personally, I think it'd just be fun to be invited to all the parties and get to eat all the free food. My motto is we don't meet if we don't eat. So that's a big draw for me. But I also think to be able to travel to exotic locations, to be able to have that respect, that deference, whatever it is for you, and it's different for every one of us, which of those is your hot button, it all comes down to pursuing that in a way that has a plan. It's not just you're hoping that it happens, but you're expecting it to happen, and you're treating it just like you would any other business. I think having the respect as an accomplished artist would be the most attractive thing for me. That recognition. I think the fact that you can have immortality almost, to have your name in credits, to have your name in lights, that's a version of immortality. And then ultimately to have a legacy and the ability to make a difference. It's a big part for us in our business. We're a profitability consulting firm, but we also raise money for nonprofits. We use what we're good at to help nonprofits raise free funding. And that's our way of making a difference, of creating a legacy. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, because I think that's a really important part of this business. You've got to plan to give back. And if you don't, I think you're going to miss a really important piece of it. So long story short, it's different for each of us, but it comes down to how do we get paid, right? How do we get paid? How do we make the money? How do we have the recognition, the time, the travel, the respect, whatever that is? How do we get paid in this business, right? And so I'm going to share with you an acronym, and that acronym is PAYDAY, PAYDAY. Thought about putting together a whole PowerPoint for it, but I'm going to go through a lot of information in the next 20 minutes, and I thought it'd be faster if I just talk. Okay. I know this is being recorded, so you can go back and listen to it. Again, if you'd like to, you can try to take notes, but I'm going to talk pretty fast. I've got a lot to cover. And I think trying to flip through slides while I did it would just slow it down. So the P in payday stands for profession. Okay. Are you treating this like a profession, or is it just a pastime? Is it just a hobby? Is this truly a career that you want to pursue and make happen? Or is it just a hope, right? Is it just something you're hoping will happen? If it's a career, not a profession, how do you approach a profession? How do you start a business? How do you take on a new job? It's like you're headhunted for a really prestigious job or a really important job. How would you approach that? Would you do it just kind of happenstance, or would you put everything you have into it, your time, your effort, your money, etc.? And there's little things and big things that define and prove whether you are treating this like a profession or not. Okay. A little thing might be, do you still use a Gmail address, right? Or have you paid the $5 a month, the $10 a month to actually get a G Suite account and give it your name? Maybe it's your name. It's April at aprilsmith.com. It gives you just that little level of prestige or professionalism instead of aprilsmith@gmail.com. Anybody who sees a Gmail address, guys, knows that you're not truly a professional. You're not truly serious. Nothing against Gmail, but they know it's a free account. So little things like that, as you look at how you're portraying yourself, how you're introducing yourself, are you still a Gmail person, or are you a professional? Do you have a business card? If not a physical printed business card, I still use printed business cards because some people are old school. They like having a paper card, but do you have a digital card that you can give to people? Bill Walsh, who's a good friend of ours and he's a big fan of VIP Ignite. He talks about using a Mingle account. You can go to mingle.no. It's MINGL.no and set up a free account. It's really a free website for you. You can add your social media. You can put your picture, your website, your email, your phone numbers, et cetera, et cetera. You can use that as though it's a digital website, a personal digital website. Do you have that set up? It doesn't even cost anything, but do you have it? Are you still relying on just your social media, or just your phone number and email, or just fill in the blank? Okay. Are you treating this like a profession? Okay. So there's a lot of different things. One of the most important, and this is a bigger one, is do you actually have an entity? Have you spent the money to set up an LLC or an S Corp or something to actually have a business for tax purposes, if nothing else? Talked to a friend of mine who sets up entities. If you want help with that, I can introduce you to someone. That's all she does. It's about $1,000 to set up an LLC. But she said she had a client who was paying $13,000 a year in taxes just by setting up his LLC and showing him how to write things off. His bill dropped to $2,000 a year in taxes. That's a big difference. And as your income goes up, it can be a significant difference. Do you have benefits for your business? That's what we do at our business. We provide low-cost benefits for anyone who needs them at as little as $30 a month. Long story short, whether you do benefits, whether you have an LLC, a Gmail address, or a real email address, are you treating it like a real business, or are you just winging it? Do you have a business plan? Have you written down your goals? There was a study years ago at Harvard where they analyzed a bunch of Harvard business graduates, and they analyzed which ones had written goals. They looked at them 10 years later, 20 years later, and 30 years later. 30 years later, 3%, the 3% that had written defined goals, actually written out with dates and deadlines, were making more than the other 97% combined. And they couldn't find really anything different. They came from, good families, they had great grades, et cetera, et cetera. But just having written goals had translated, there was probably much more to it, but that was the one thing they could see that was consistent between these top performers. They had written specific goals with a deadline, dated, written in present tense, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot to this. And there's in just this one topic, this P, profession, or being professional, we could talk the whole day about that. Are you professional? Are you punctual? Do you show up early, and are you the first one there and the last one to leave? Are you reliable? There's so much that could be said, but setting yourself up as though it's a real business, not just a hobby, can make a difference. The A I came up with is art form. Obviously, you have to work on your art form, your craft, right? It goes without saying. You're constantly seeking to improve. That's what every athlete needs to do. That's every actor or artist has to do. It's hard work. It's long hours. I don't have to tell you guys this. But are you putting in that time? Are you just trying to wing this and think you're going to get it because you've got a dynamic personality? Or are you putting in the time? Now, the fact that you're on this call and you're working with VIP Ignite suggests that you are. It's a really big evidence in my mind that you are, because you're investing in yourself. Now, it can take several years. With our business, we starved for the first 3 years trying to get our business going and working through it and robbing Peter to pay Paul. And you have to do that in your business as well. But you never give up. You keep reinventing yourself. You keep getting better. You put in the time. You get involved. You put yourself out there. You really need to take the time to truly learn and perfect your craft. And I know you're learning that here at VIP Ignite, and my hat is off to you for that. But make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're taking the time to learn and perfect your craft. Attend free workshops, read books, courses you invest in. I mean, my wife has a master's degree from YouTube. She watches YouTube all the time, and she's learned a lot in the process. But you do get what you pay for. And the more you invest in yourself, the more you're going to make, and the more that return will come back to you. It's scary when it's tight and money's tight, and you're buying off on this maybe $5,000 course or something. But when you do that, two things happen. One, you're going to gain all the experience and all the insights and the shortcuts. But two, you have skin in the game now. It becomes a bigger priority. You're going to make it a bigger priority because you don't want to waste those funds. Malcolm Gladwell says it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything, but it also takes time and money. It takes more than just hours. It takes investment. investing in yourself. Bill Walsh, again, who's our friend, the billionaire, he still spends $100,000 a year attending courses, having coaching. You think by at his stage, he doesn't need it anymore, but he says all the time, you never stop. You never stop investing in yourself. And it's important in the beginning and later in your career. You always go VIP. If there's an opportunity to be in the right room, spend the money. Go ahead and do it, because you will get out of it what you put in. And half-baked effort, half-baked investment produces half-baked results. And you don't want to go there. Okay. So the why, and I wish we had more time. I'd love to open it up to comments and questions and so forth. But the why is your brand. Okay. Do you know who you are? What do you want your personal brand or image to be? What makes you unique? What sets you apart? Some people start going by one name. Some people start branding themselves in a certain way on their social media. Whatever it is, you should pick a lane and run with it, because you can't be all things to all people. Figure out your strength, figure out what you think is unique and sets you apart, and then run with it. Okay. Put your time and effort into building that brand. I think there's two things that are really important when it comes to branding, whether it's your business or your personal brand. One, is it consistent? Okay. Who are you? And is that message consistent? We, for example, we're a veteran-owned company. We help create greater certainty in companies' lives, in our clients' lives. We do this a number of different ways, but that's our goal, is to help create more certainty through cost reduction, low-cost benefits, et cetera, et cetera. We give back to our communities. We're a global company. We believe in what we call profit with purpose. It's about more than just making income. It's about making a difference. This is our brand. Okay. So what are your values and priorities? And do you try to keep it consistent? Secondly, how many ways are you communicating that brand? Even better, how many others are saying it for you, right? Are there influencers talking about you and promoting you? And are you attacking it from lots of different angles? Okay. Through writing a book, through speaking, through website, through social media, through podcasting. With our business, we do all of those things. We also have a daily live YouTube channel. The list goes on. I've heard it say that you should have a goal to speak somewhere every week, at least once a week. If you have a fear of speaking, Jay Leno says most of us would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. So that may describe you. But if you have a fear of speaking, you need to get over it if you want to be in this industry, unless you're a dancer, maybe. But that is a challenge, but it is something that you can overcome. You can join things like Toastmasters, and it will teach you how to speak. It'll force you to speak every week. It'll get you up and talking until you become comfortable with it. It is the most important business skill, is to be able to get up in front of people and talk. So practice makes perfect, right? Continue asking, what more can we do? I know, for example, social media is our weakness. We've never really had to advertise. All of our business comes from word of mouth. I haven't done a great deal of social media, and I know that's somewhere we need to get stronger. That's our goal this next year. I'm hiring a TikTok specialist. I'm getting a social media specialist to help out. I know that's an area of weakness, and that's a question you should be asking yourself over and over. Where are our areas of weakness? Where are my areas of weakness? And how do I fix them? And ask for help. Okay, you can't do it all yourself. I'm a firm believer in hiring professionals to help you achieve more, to help you reach that level. Just never stop improving. If I can learn social media in my mid-50s, anything is possible, right? If you need help, ask your kids or grandkids. That's what I do. So, okay, so we're halfway through. The D in day. That's the PANY, being a professional, figuring out your artistry, really working on your craft, and the Y is your brand. The D is distribution. It's not good enough to just define who you are if you're not telling anybody about it, if you're not getting the word out there. That's why we're trying to focus on social media. We know it's important. We're a little bit old school, but we're trying to learn how to do it and do it better. Okay. But after you decide who you are, make sure that you get advice and input and guidance from experts. There's always people who are better at areas than you are, and that's okay. We can't be all things to all people, right? That's why you're turning to and working with VIP Ignite. They have the experience, they have the connections. So you're absolutely spot on the right track to work with Deneen and Michael and Alicia and their team. Okay. But get advice from them and then implement. Put yourself out there. Too often in life and in business, we have what's called analysis paralysis. We think about it a lot, we talk about it, we study it, but we never actually do it. But you have to get out there. You have to show up everywhere. You should write a book. You should speak. You should learn. You should go on radio shows and podcasts. You should network, start a YouTube channel, get on Twitch. You can have your own TV station on Twitch and put it everywhere. Look for free networking events like Meetup. Put reels on Instagram. Like I said, ask your kids or your grandkids if you need help how to do that. That's what I do. Look for mentorship opportunities. Volunteer at charitable events. Give service and so forth. I go by the 3-foot rule. If somebody gets within 3 feet of me, they hear about what I do, because I never know when that next person's going to be able to open a door for me. And work on your elevator speech. I'm a big believer that when you introduce yourself, it should be very simple, very straightforward, and say, producers, directors, agents, whoever it is that your client is. So fill in the blank, hires me. They hire me to blank because I blank and because I help them to blank. Bottom line, blank, blank, blank. Okay, I'm going to give you this outline and I'll put it in the chat. But it is a very simple introduction to who you are. Okay, let's put it in the chat. Think it through. Think about who is hiring you and why do they hire you? What sets you apart? And then you summarize it at the end. You have to be able to come up with a really simple elevator speech, as they say. What would you say to somebody if you have 30 seconds with them in the elevator? The 3-foot rule applies, but if you are not explaining who you are and what you do and doing so quickly and easily, you're going to miss out on opportunities to maybe connect with the right person. And we all know that one introduction could make your entire career. So you have to be prepared. You have to distribute or disseminate your brand to everyone you meet and make sure it's concise and clear and memorable. Okay, so the A in day, we're on to the day and or the A in day, right? In our acronym. The A is for access. Okay, back to my comment on one introduction could make your career. We've all heard that. I know you've heard that from Michael and Deneen and Alicia and their team. You have to be ready, okay? But you have to also get out there and meet more people. Talking about distribution, it's about quantity, not just quality. Okay, the more people you meet, the more likelihood you're going to meet the right person. It's not usually who you know, it's usually who they know or even who they know. We talk about the 6 degrees of separation. The more people you meet, the more groups and parties and networking situations you're in, the more likely you're going to meet that right introduction. And we all know in this industry, it is not about what you know as much as who you know, as much as I hate to say it. Okay. Meet more people, you will dramatically increase your odds of meeting the right person. If you're sitting at home hoping it happens, it's not going to happen, right? But you got to be in the right place at the right time. You guys may have heard that Michael Fompkin went back to Florida earlier just about a month ago with Bill Walsh and went to a dinner at Mar-a-Lago. And spent 3 days with Donald Trump and his team. Now, whether you like Trump or hate Trump doesn't matter. That is a room you want to be in. Some of the most powerful people in America are in that room. When he got back, as the story goes, as I heard it from Michael, is he got a call from one of Trump's right hands. And she said to him, they ended up talking for 2.5 hours. And she said, I hope this is okay to share, Deneen. She said to him, Donald Trump has been looking for someone who can be on his council from the entertainment and media industry. And someone he can trust who will tell him how it is, tell him what's going on, what the needs are, what the wants are, what the interests are. Some people would say, well, why would you ever want to work with Trump? Well, would you rather have a voice in that room or a seat at that table, or have no voice being given? No, would you rather be able to influence and guide and direct what's happening in those circles, or would you rather be shut out? In my opinion, that's an extraordinary opportunity, regardless of how you feel politically. But that's what we're talking about: access, right? Proximity is power. I see Catherine's note here. Being close to and meeting people that can help you in your career. I don't know about you, but that's a room I would want to have access to, even if I voted the other way. The more events you attend, free and paid events, the more you invest, the more access you're going to have. The better quality, the more you invest, usually the better quality access. You're going to get into more and more exclusive rooms and mindset groups and masterminds and so forth. It's exactly what VIP Ignite does for you, is it opens up doors and gives you access that you would never have otherwise. And so going to more casting calls, auditions, workshops, parties, helping out with events like this, give service where you can. I went to Rainmaker Orlando, which is Bill Walsh's event in Florida, right in the middle of Hurricane Ian. Got to meet Michael and Deneen. We got to be friends. We've stayed in touch. I came to the VIP Ignite Bootcamp back in October. We built our relationship even more. I saw him again in Rainmaker Vegas, and we've continued to build this relationship. So you get an opportunity to meet someone like them, and then you've got to follow up, and you stay in touch, and you build a friendship with them. Again, it's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know more often than not. Michael and I spent an hour talking, sitting on a couch at the top of Mandalay Bay during Rainmaker Las Vegas, and got to know each other even better. And that's where I heard his story about this visit in Florida. The more you do that, the more consistent you are in building those relationships, the better you'll do. And the more you're going to be able to benefit. And the more you're going to be able to serve and benefit others, which is what it comes down to. I have a technique for meeting people you want to meet. Okay. And this is just my, gospel according to Patrick. But if you want to meet a specific director or a specific celebrity, somebody that you feel like could be really good for your career, I would write down the top 5, your dream list, right? And find out what charities they support. Many of them either own a foundation or they're very involved in one or more foundations. And if I were you, I would reach out to that foundation, that charity, and say, I'd like to help. What can I do to come and volunteer or serve or whatever? And go show up. Be that person that shows up first and ends last, and volunteers at their gala and helps with their marathons or their walks or whatever, their fundraising, whatever. Get to know them. It takes some time, guys. But if you show up and serve and think about, what can I do to give long before I ever have to expect anything in return? If you sincerely go there and serve, you will start to, one, get to know them. You'll get to know their people, their team, their foundation, and potentially, eventually, that actual influencer. But it takes time, and trust doesn't happen overnight. Okay, you have to be sincere and you have to put in the effort. If you'll do that, amazing things will start to happen. If you get involved, you be reliable, you show up on time, you go that extra mile, you give service, you build trust. Okay, and I think of it as a tithe of your time. If you got 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, give 4 to 6 hours to these types of organizations. It'll come back to you tenfold. And there's a very good chance you could get to know that influencer that you want to meet, who could help you in your career. This applies in everything you do. It takes a lot of time and effort, but if you put in the time, pay the price, it'll come back to you tenfold, maybe 1,000-fold. Another thing is to have access. You have to have some flexibility in your schedule. It takes time to do these things. So whether you're going and doing it after hours or you have more time to get more involved, a lot of it has to do with income flexibility. So you've got to look at what you're doing to pay the bills while you're paying your dues. Can you work an early morning job or a night job? Or can you work a job that allows you to be available to go and do more service, to go and do more auditions? Is there a job that you're doing that is in the way? It's keeping you from being able to go to casting calls and auditions and so forth. If it is, then get rid of it, replace it, find something else that you can do. Start a podcast, start a YouTube channel, go do some affiliate sales or network marketing or something that gives you more flexibility in your schedule so you have time to pursue your dream. If you're interested in learning some ways to do that, shoot me a message. I'm happy to share. We have several in our business that we can help you. Literally, I'll give you one example. If any of you know a small business that kept their employees on during COVID, they have W-2 employees, full-time employees. I can get them up to $26,000 per employee. Literally, a little teeny business with 10 employees, I can get them $250,000. If you introduce me to that customer, I pay you a finder's fee. You can make $10,000 to $20,000 just for introducing me to that customer. We get paid, you get paid, the customer makes most of it, and they love you. Not only will you make some income, but you'll earn enormous trust, and you'll get referrals, which can multiply into additional commissions. It's just a way for you to make extra income without having to put in a 40-hour week at a job. And so it creates income for you and time freedom to go and be where you need to be to build your career. So it's just one example, okay? But it's a real example, and there's several out there like it.
That's awesome.
Okay, last but not least, I'm running out of time here. The
why.
Like
2 more minutes, sir.
Yep. The why stands for your legacy. Okay. It is, what do you want to leave? I talked about your brand. Who do you want to be? But what do you want to leave behind? Okay. As we grow in our career, your craft, your art, whatever, you have to ask yourself, who do you want to be? And are you willing to do anything to get there? But you got to make sure you keep your principles and your values in line. Don't let the industry ruin you. Don't let it compromise you. Don't let drugs or alcohol or sex or anything like that cost you everything. Be your true self. When I was recruited to be a radio host for Voice America, the first question I asked is, do I have to be Frank Hellring? He's another host, outspoken and political and everything. They said, absolutely not. They said, be your authentic self. I love Frank, but I'm not him. They said, be your true self. Figure out who you are and be that. And I would say the same thing in this industry. Be your true self. Someday you'll have the A-listers level of confidence, success, and peace and everything that goes with it. You'll be successful, but you also want to be able to look back and not have regrets. Okay. Put in the time and effort, treat it like a business, create good habits now that pay dividends in the future, and begin with the end in mind. Okay, visualize it, write it down. We talked about writing down your goals. Remember the Harvard story. Leave the world a better place, give service. It'll open up amazing doors for you guys. And you do all that to build relationships. It takes time, but you'll also build trust. Write it down. Practice your EGOT acceptance speeches now. Visualize it, and you'll get there. So that's all I have to say. If you'd like to learn more, you can shoot me a text at 26786. Text the word certainty to 26786. Deneen can provide my information if you have questions about anything I've said. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So thanks, Deneen.
That was awesome. Patrick, thank you so much. How many of you would love to know how you can earn some income that'll supplement your income so you can really get started doing those things you know you're meant to do? How awesome is that? Patrick, I was listening in the background. Thank you so much for what you shared. You gave so many tips that I think people think about, but they don't process until they hear it. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking your time today to be here with us.
My pleasure. I hope it's helpful. And if anybody has any questions or would like help, I'm happy to help you in your careers. You're on the right track working with Deneen and Michael and their team. Just keep doing what you're doing, and they've got lots of support and love from the rest of us. So if we can help, we'd be honored. So
awesome. Well, thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, guys.